Distinguished colleagues, good morning. I will try not to speak too loud to maintain calmness of the audience. Today it's the 9th of November. The session is long awaited for somebody not, but on biometrics. Yesterday we remembered how we gathered together 1 year ago where we discussed which tasks do we have, what will change and what will be the results. Today we will touch upon the issues of our future and also what we have achieved over the past year. I believe that we have something to be proud of. There were a lot of events. First of all, the indicator of our achievements, of our accomplishments and results is that today all the people willing to speak here couldn't participate because we have a limited number. We have new faces representing all prospective areas, and our partners are also here. And first of all, I would like to introduce our speakers. Yrii Shabanov, Deputy Director of Digital Identification Technology, Ministry of Digital Development. Pavel Potanin, Assistant to the Director of the Bank of Russia. Maksim Krukelis, Director of the NPCS Department. Oleg Evseev, Director of Division of Biometric at Sberbank. Denis Kuzmichev, Federal Tax Service of Russia. Zhanna Ermolina, Deputy Head of Metro of Moscow on development of client services and work with the passengers. And of course, Dmitrii, Markov, Director General of VisionLabs company. Well, colleagues, I would like to start our session traditionally. Questions of our concern about the regulation and legal acts. Yrii, the question is to you. What are the main focuses of state regulation policy? What have we achieved over the last year, and what are the results? Dear colleagues, good afternoon once again. Of course, for the government, from the point of view of personal data, and we are speaking about the most sensitive data, biometric data, which cannot be faked, which cannot be changed. Of course, we can have plastic surgery, but nobody will change the whole body. That is why these are unique identification, which is given to us from birth. And from the point of view of the government, it's very important to respond timely to protect the safety of such data and to use them correctly from the point of view of service rendering in terms of a citizen, if a citizen is willing to do that. And on my way here, I remembered I have a nephew, and he likes Mission Impossible movie. In every part is something very secret related to the biometric technology. For example, an access to a facility, to an equipment. It was very active in 1990s, 1980s in the movie industry, and it was done not by chance. We see that biometrics is something very unique, and access to particular information. In many facilities, they apply biometrics for gaining access, and biometric technologies have been developing for a long time. Now we have an illusion that it is emerging technology because the period of development is more than 50 years. In 1947, the first conference on genetics and biometrics took place. After that, study of different methods started. There are Russian scientists, Markov from the Chelyabinsk region, who developed mathematic description of nodes, and he had very good results. That is why, colleagues, we just proceed to the next stage of development where biometrics will be applied everywhere. And we, being a governmental body, believe that now we have to form an ecosystem of using biometric data, which has to be safe. Over the last years, we have been analyzing what's happening, and we were trying to respond properly. The main aspect for us in terms of regulation was the adoption of law on identification on the basis of personal biometric data, which is the main rules of the game with biometric data. With law is a milestone because the last key law, and before we have adopted more than 100 legal documents, decrees, laws, etc. This sphere is very complicated. Dozens of years we have been involved in this sphere. The whole architecture of the market shall look the following way. There shall be unified, integrated central system of the government where the personal biometric data shall be stored securely and safely in accordance with all the rules of the regulator, and there shall be commercial organizations accredited, which will be connected to the governmental system and render services to their clients and to customers of other clients in terms of biometric identification. This law is not aimed to make life of the market more difficult. It's quite the opposite. For example, for the companies which want to provide such services, there are three ways of working. Number one, you can connect directly to the governmental system. Number two, accreditation in the Ministry of Digital Development of the Russian Federation to get accredited to have and provide services in accordance with that. And number three, if you are just a company willing to provide services based on biometrics, you can join the accredited organization. You can connect to them, and this organization will provide services to you. This architecture allows us to control safety of all the data and to analyze where they go, how they are proceeded, how they are applied. In terms of developments, I would like to mention that over the last 3 years we had a lot of new technologies in Russia, in the world. About 2 billion people actively use biometric technologies. I will not expand on that. From the point of view of the regulation, the law, which I have already mentioned, 572, from the point of view of organizations, it's clear. What does it mean for a citizen? Because for us, this is the focus group to provide safety and comfort to a citizen and to make his or her life better. Now a citizen has the one window of entering into this ecosystem of biometric technologies who will provide biometrical data to the state system. There can be a number of levels of account of a profile depending on the biometrics indicators and services needed. The agreement can be signed on the unified portal of public services. All the contents are published here. The content can be provided and a person can also withdraw the content. There is a single window for a citizen. It is not necessary to go to different organizations with biometric identification. Even if a citizen gives his or her consent, he or she forgets about that. And there are different players. There are good players and bad players who did not protect personal data properly, to our point of view. And this is the key message of my speech. The government thinks that use of biometrics shall be individual and upon the goodwill of the citizens. We do not intend to impose biometrics, to collect all the biometric data. It's not obligatory. And there are a lot of myths. And to answer your question, I would like to mention that myths. If biometric data comes to the governmental system, a person is subject to monitoring. It's not true. It's prohibited by the federal law. Biometric system is applied only for civil sphere, only for service rendering. And Ministry of Digital Development regulates only civil service. We are not connected to the cameras of monitoring of CCTV, etc. About the frauds, of course, we don't think that these people are going to attack, to hack the system, to download the data. Even if they do, the first what they have is a vector. It's not a biometric data. It's the mathematic equation, calculation. Even the picture is not available. Even if these criminals receive a picture, well, what? They can do nothing with that. When you were entering the hall, some of you used biometrics. There are different systems, subsystems of detection, which identify a person. And to create a fake, it's not enough to have one picture. Of course, the criminals will go to the social networks, download hundreds of pictures, and in social networks they are also connected to personal data, which is not supported by us within the frameworks of the building of the system, and especially the ecosystem which I have mentioned. We believe that the biometrics and personal data shall be stored in different places. We are positive about the future. We are willing to help the market, to assist, to support, because we believe that application of biometrics is very important from technological point of view for attraction of the government and convenience for the citizen. Today we have different companies which are in demand all over the globe. They have projects in other countries and technologies in the Russian Federation, which are developed by the Russian companies, are in high demand in other countries. That is why we believe that biometrics has a very promising future, and the citizens will realize that only after they see the usefulness. Thank you. I would agree. Yesterday in the fields of the forum, we were speaking a lot about the balance. The regulatory part shall not be very limiting, shall not be very tough. We shall give the space for fantasy, for something like that. Also, we have been talking a lot about that. Today we will focus on practice issues. The pioneers in biometrics were the banks. Pavel, Mr. Potanin. Yesterday I heard the best what I wanted to hear. The banks realized what they have to do. They realized the new rules of the game. We invested a lot of efforts in communication, and all the advanced bank with the public participation, and not only in accredited companies, the companies which plan to render not only financial services. I would like to realize what are the tasks of the Bank of Russia for remote identification, for development of biometric technologies. We realize that for us it's very important to see the client and the quality of services rendered in terms of collection biometric data. Vladislav, thank you very much. Yesterday we spoke a lot about what's important in biometrics. The unified system is not something scary. Implementation of biometrics will allow to develop other services. I would like to dwell on two issues. First, collection of data, and number two is the moment of application of biometrics. From us, it's service rendering by the credit organizations.
Probably it's not a secret for us that the unified biometric system appeared to become a client of any bank in the future without visiting the bank. And then this idea expanded, and governments and authorities started to understand that other services and to provide the possibility to collect the biometric data. Yesterday, we discussed the issue of optimization of collection of clients' biometric data. However, there are legislation norms to provide the citizens with the possibility to register their biometric data. From our part, as a regulator, together with a working group that we gathered, which consists of credit organizations who provide 80% of points of biometric data collection all over the country. The order of communication with citizens regarding the issues of collection and provision. Our task as the Bank of Russia is to give understandable, transparent, convenient and fast scenarios from the point of provision with the information of the clients, where they can get this information, where biometric data can be collected, and along the whole process. So we are planning to finish this process until the end of the year. There are several banks of biometric data registration, and also I want to highlight the issue of services provision. Together with our colleagues of Minцifry Russia, we established certain requirements for the registration and using of biometric data. The issue of convenience, simplicity of using this data is very acute. So we analyzed to which degree it is simple and convenient to get a service using biometric data at the web page of governmental services. And in the nearest future, we are planning to make review on the basis of this analysis to make these services the most convenient. Regarding the technologies, I would like to emphasize a few points. First of all, the Bank of Russia expects that the range of services with using of biometric data will be expanded because every citizen feels more convenient to use biometric data. Second point, as our colleagues have just told, many commercial players already got accreditation of commercial biometric system, and they will try to provide this service as simple as possible. And the third point, many people, I think, have certain degree of mistrust to the technology which is coming into their lives. Yes, this is fair to a certain extent. However, it is a bit exaggerated. And I think we will be able to overcome this prejudice and this mistrust with the help of commercial service and the support from the government. And our opinion that in the perspective of the future and our service bio-acquiring will help to get a start to massive usage of biometric data in our modern life. Thank you. You have just told that the Bank of Russia is being more and more authorized now. So, dear colleagues, please pay your attention here. Regarding bio-acquiring, I think this is the most popular issue nowadays. And I would like to move to the discussion of the issue how to simplify this process. Okay, the question of bio-acquiring. What we do every day. Every day we pay for our goods, and we do it every day. There are many things that we do with this service every day, and the main thing is not to make it difficult for people to think how they pay. Continuing the topic of bio-acquiring, I'm giving the floor to our next speaker. The issue is the terms. Biometric data is frightening. As a center of biometric technology, we should work on trading, like such mottos or words as make it simple, move to the fast technologies, and so on. So, Maksim, my question to you. This year, Finapolis presents a pilot project on bio-acquiring with SBP technology. What is being planned for the nearest future? Thank you and for giving me the floor. Of course, application of biometric data service in our country provided all the possibilities for bio-acquiring development. So our vision is it's not the last phase when a client buys something in a shop just with his or her face ID. This sphere is more expanded and more deep. So what is our vision? A person provides the biometric data. It is very easy nowadays. The last versions of the application allow to provide to give biometric data, and it can be uploaded to any application, simple application, and then a person can use the biometric data whenever. So this is our conception, and for us the first part is important, the simplicity of providing biometric data and of the collection and such services as payment. It's been working from the end of September. It is presented at our stand. So it is better to see one time than to hear 1,000 times. So regarding the payment, it is done with the system of fast payments, and the connection of the fast payment to your biometric data happens in the application, which is standard, and you can point, you can indicate this way of payment as the main instrument. And we can also include the list of users. First of all, commercial organizations. For us, it is important to provide this pilot project to trade organization to taste how it works with their devices and how it's been applied widely in commercial structures, and to test to which degree it is convenient for the clients and for the companies. This is our task at the pilot stage. So it is important for us to see our role here. This is the role of binding stage in this chain. The structure of a commercial biometric data collection. We allow a person to provide biometric data through the application, and then to allow the person to make payments whenever it is convenient to him, at his workplace, at shops. It is analogical to the cards, and as the system of fast payments. And we hardly think which bank provides services to which shop. We just don't think about it. So the development of by acquiring provides such client experience. So our task is to provide our clients to make their payments with a modern, convenient way at any place where it is needed. So I'm inviting you to our stand to see how it works. Yes, I agree with you that we should just move and develop. Regarding the system of fast payments and the bank's participants, an important thing is that such organizations are not restricted with the new law regarding this. The measures of support are provided by our jointly project. And in this situation, the client should not think about the payment instruments. And it should not be the problem of the client to think about which way of payment it is connected. But he should just know that his biometric data is related to the payment system. Regarding the by acquiring, we can mention the experience of Sberbank. You know, the Sberbank announced about biometric payment all over the country. According to our information now, I think you noticed in big cities there are around 150,000 terminals which maintain the payment with biometric cards and touch-free cards.
Could you share the results of your many-year studies? What is the number of consumers of transactions? Of course, we have some common biometric clients. And what are the perspectives for the application of biometrics in the nearest future? Thank you very much, Vladislav. Good afternoon, everyone. I will start with a simple thing. Can we have my presentation on the screen, please? Yes, in the center is biometrics of Sberbank. The center is a person. For us, it's very important. And before I answer the question, I would like to say that to provide safety, of biometric and personal data of a person supported the concept of single window, which the colleagues mentioned before, and currently we are in a process which is very important for us. A process of transformation of our system and change of approach to the work of biometrics, and to comply with the federal law number 572. In order to achieve that, we do the following things. First of all, we have informed all the clients which use biometrics on the need to provide their data to the unified system, and currently we are transiting these samples. Number two, we work with a vector model, and this is a transition to 100% vector model where the samples are stored. We work with the vectors of our biometric system. And number three, together with a group of technology companies in the sphere of information security, are working on the development and implementation of means of information protection, including cryptography, to provide unprecedented requirements to information security applied to biometric personal data. This is a great challenge in general for the information security in general, for biometric technology in the Russian Federation, because in order to have this solution both reliable and very widespread, we will need a lot of studies and a lot of developments which today are not completed as a whole. This is the first which I would like to highlight. For a person, we comply with the requirements of the federal law number 172, together with the regulators, together with the suppliers of information security services. Now I would like to expand a little bit on biometrics and where it is useful for a client. It's not a secret that we have implemented the first scenario with biometrics in 2018-2019, and since then we launched 1 or 2 products a year, massive services using biometric data. Now it's about 9 products. I will not read the list from the screen. To be brief, these are the channels of services rendering, opportunities to obtain services without passports in the bank offices, without cards in the ATMs, etc. One of the novelties of 2023 is the wide range of biometric acquiring. We started working on technology in 2019. The pilot was launched in 2020. Now we declared that we have found massive, convenient and safe solution, which allows to provide services to the clients on the wide terminals. We will see them in details a little bit later. These terminals allow to perform all the transactions which we got used to, cards, QR codes, and also biometrics. This is not very expensive equipment which combines safety, and there is a comfort and security proved. It cannot be hacked by a photo or using a mask. All of that doesn't work thanks to the algorithm of originality control. We serve more than 5 million unique users in terms of biometrics. And in average, there are 7 million of transactions with biometrics a month. More than 15 million clients used our services in terms of biometrics in the whole history, and now the rules of biometrics applications are set. We're going to promote these services offer the services in the information field for our clients. In regards of the payment using biometrics, I will agree with Maksim. This is the most popular and the most frequent scenario of working with biometric data. Currently, we have 150,000 terminals. Since the beginning of the year, there were more than 500,000 transactions. Over the last month, there were 250,000 transactions. The conversion is more than 90%, and the speed of transaction is about 4 seconds. For us, payment using biometrics is the targeted, frequent service aimed at convenience of a client and the organization which renders services to this client. In addition to biometric acquiring, this year or the beginning of the next year, we will work with biometric for the external market. One of the first services we offered to the organizations of the external market is the system of control of access based on our security system. It's very simple. Everything related to accreditation, storage of vectors is a responsibility of Sberbank, and the organizations which work with consumers are offered a platform with the possibility to provide services to clients using our biometric technologies in a biometric terminal. And to summarize, I would like to add that undoubtedly all the speakers of this session realize all the complexity on the way to promote biometrics. We, as a Sberbank, invest a lot to make this technology very widespread and very safe for our clients. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Oleg. I would like to draw your attention to the last slide. It's related to my words. Over the year, all the willing stakeholders adopted easily and understanding the rules of the game. Everybody understands what shall be the status, the digital status. We have examined the biometrics, and now I would like to speak is wider than the financial sector. In parts of the bioacquiring and technologies, yesterday, together with the Federal Tax Service, we have signed an agreement on cooperation. We, together with the Central Bank, Ministry of Digital Development of the Russian Federation, under the coordination of the Ministry of Finance of Russia, take part in the experiment, which is called Start Business Online. Today we are going to reveal, to raise the curtains, to reveal some secrets, what we are preparing for our users in the future, which allows, and this technology, biometrics, will allow us to open business even simpler. Denis, could you tell us more about that? Registration of a business is like to give birth to a child. This is the very beginning where everything starts. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? I have a very brief presentation. For us, Federal Tax Service of Russia, client centricity is our priority. We believe that using the biometrics when registering a business will contribute to making this registration more convenient and to start business without visiting banks or the tax office or other organizations. So everyone can start easily. I would briefly tell you about the current procedure of registration, and after that I will tell what we are going to improve. As you know, to open the business you need 3 basic things. Registration, which is performed by the tax service. The second is to open account in a bank. And number 3 is the digital signature, because every business uses digital signatures to conclude agreements remotely, to take part in the auctions, tenders, and everything necessary for interaction with the counterparts. Every point requires time. You need to go to the tax service office, or you can do that electronically. 85% of business is registered electronically. After that, you have to visit the bank or invitation. I heard yesterday that colleagues from banks said that they have been working on visiting the client instead of the client visiting the bank. Anyway, you need an interaction with the bank. And of course with the tax services to have the qualified electronic signature for an sole proprietor or the company. And we are intending to do that unified integrated service so the client could have everything in 1 click or 2 clicks. It's a very simple image when you have biometrics. In a particular level, the biometrics will be applied. A registration of business currently also includes biometrics, and by this I mean to have the signature, to have this key for the signature, you can use biometrics. And to have the permission of the registration center. This is the first step. At the first step, the applicant applies to an organization or bank service because we have built our interaction with the banks. And a person is choosing a bank where he or she wants to open a business, and after registering the business, it is required to obtain the electronic signature to sign the application on the account opening. The second stage is the obtaining of a signature. Here, biometrics is required for the remote identification of a legal entity. And after obtaining the signature within one service, so we proceed with the next stage. It's a signature of an application on opening account and sending it to a bank within frameworks of one service procedure. All of that is performed within the frameworks of cooperation between banks and tax services. It shall be an application with the willing to open an account in this very bank. We form a unified client path. As a result, a person obtains registration, an account, and a key to perform the operations. What are the advantages? First of all, is the complex services to start your activity. Number 2 is unified approach to identification in EBU. In every stage you have to apply identification. You don't have to register in different systems to have an access, to go to different places. You just have to once obtain your biometrics and after that use it with convenience.
And further, accordingly, using of the services 24 hours per 7 days a week. We had already such cases when the users could register when, for example, they were at their vacation, so they can register remotely. Another case, another advantage is that the time of the registration is reduced. And we plan to provide opening of the account during 1 day. Of course, it depends on the scale of the business, on the size of the business, but we plan to do it during 1 day. And we will be providing accounts for the legal entities from 1 until 1,000 employees in the company. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer. Thank you. Dear colleagues, several things are important here. This year, we've launched electronic signature, digital signature for legal entities. Second point is that we started to provide remote provision of digital signatures for legal entities. Those who are experts, they understand to which degree it is important. And the third step is registration, then the signature of a general director, and after that you can already start working. And you know, our achievement that we can do this procedure during 1 day. We can complete this procedure during 1 day. It's a success of our business. Continuing discussion, the topic of biometry. Of course, we should include our key partner, and in the nearest future, Moscow city is the key segment of our jointly work. Yesterday, so it is metro. Yesterday, I read the information that biometry in Moscow metro is one of successful services which is convenient for the passengers and which is loved by them. Could you share? I'm giving the floor to our next speaker. Please, could you share how many passengers use biometric data for metro? And I'm joking that the metro is expanding so fast that maybe it will reach Monaco. Yes, at least Sochi. Of course, it's a joke. Thank you for giving me the floor. Yes, indeed, this is one of the high-frequency service of our city. 9 million of passengers use metro in Moscow. In 2021, as far as I remember, it was 15th October, and we launched biometrical data in all the stations of Moscow metro at once. You know, what is very important for the social transport is safety, and it is speed and fastness, and not to break all other processes of the activity of the transport system. It is important to notice for us today that using of biometric data is completely a volunteer story, and the passenger can choose which way of payment is convenient to the passenger, either payment with card or Face ID. Around over 82 million of entrances with biometric data in the city transport. I think many of you already tried biometric entrance in metro, and we have different ways of logistics of payment of the transport, like payment one ticket for 90 minutes. So it is not only convenient but also cost effective. 320,000 passengers registered in the system of biometric payments. 88% of users prefer this system of payments. And we also launched this way of payment at sea river transport, and we plan to implement this way of payment not only in the metro but also in buses and trams on Earth, because there are other conditions of implementation of this system. In the metro, we made decentralized architecture of biometric data to make it work fast. The speed of higher than 1.5 seconds is already critical and not convenient. Therefore, lots of work had been done. Either we changed the system of lighting to make the passage for the passengers there as easy as it is possible. Also, we plan to implement this system to Moscow Central diameter. Now we provided the most convenient client way. When a person makes a picture, then attaches bank card, around 3 or 4 seconds it takes for the registration, and just after 15 minutes the person can enter the metro with biometrical payments. Also, we have the transport card named Troika, and we plan to attach this card as well, and social cards like for students and social categories of the citizens. And we also plan to make attachments of these cards. And again, I want to emphasize that it is completely volunteer whether they want to use these services or not. We've been trying to gather the information from the passengers, their feedbacks, for 2 years. We revised the comments and wishes from the passengers. 80% of the passengers who used biometric data payment, they noticed that it had become comfortable for them, and they've been using it very actively. So we want to expand the number of tourniquets at the stations. First, we started with only one device, and now at big stations, we increase the quantity of these devices, which allow to pay with biometric data. And in total, we want to increase the quantity of the passengers in metro. As the previous speaker told, now we've become a unified biometric data segment. This year we have an aim to complete technical processes regarding the centralization of a biometric database, to make it integrated and to give the passengers the possibility to pay not in our application but also using the unified biometric system in order to get all the services from one window. Yes, thank you, Zhanna. As a user, I can say that indeed I like this system, and it's arranged actually very good. Next year, we plan to involve 6 main cities and regions: Kazan, Ekaterinburg, Samara, and other cities. Yesterday we discussed this question in Ekaterinburg, where 28% of passengers would like to use this way. However, half of these people are afraid that they will be traced with biometric data. So it is very important task for us where the usage of biometric data is fair and where it is unfair. So what we do every day? Every day we pay. We interact with companies. We visit certain buildings or events. So I'm giving the floor to Dmitrii. And my question to you, how do you assess our success? In which field we should work more? And what should we do in order to reach the next step of development of biometric data? Yes, thank you, Vlad. Your questions are clear. Let me begin from the very beginning. First of all, I thank our audience that you've chosen our session, although there are many other interesting sessions. And if you came here by metro, I hope you also used Face ID payment. I came here, yes, by metro with Face ID. I'm very happy to it, but I do remember how difficult it was from technological point of view when we were at the stage of launching this project. I represent the company VisionLabs. We provide biometrical bags, and all of them use VisionLabs technology, and as well as other spheres. And you know, we know all the demand in Russia and abroad. In the beginning of this year, tell you frankly, the situation happened where all the players of this field asked whether biometric system will exist or not. You know, this geopolitical reality dictates us the condition to allow everyone in and not to allow nobody. So there are certain fears. Okay.
There were such talks, and I would like to say that the key event which took place happened after the release of this law number 572. Those of you who read it until the end, you are heroes. I read it before I went to bed when I had insomnia. I couldn't read it to the end, but the market looked at it and said, okay, we shall wait the other documents related to this law. It lasted for months and the biometric market stopped. They said it's a great technology, ranking is a very good thing, but we didn't see additional documents. We have no idea if it's going to function or not, and what we shall do with information security. At the same time, there was an active joint work. I remember very well all these meetings when all gathered together, a regulator, other participants, vendors, etc. And within the framework of a dialogue, everybody found a model which will allow the market to develop. The only issue was, is it possible to do what everybody was speaking about, commercial biometric system? Nobody believed in the EBU because it managed to have only 168,000 of registration. Some banks had millions, some banks had dozens of millions. Nobody believed in this system. That is why when we speak about the markets, we speak about the banks. Now the situation has changed, to my point of view. The current situation is that people believe in the market. We can see that on the example. There are 3 companies which passed accreditation, and 7 companies are in the process of registration, and I believe there will be more of them. I can tell you in my own experience that recently, sometimes it happens, we fulfilled this task with one of the players in 2 months. Of course, we worked weekends and nights, and we can see that the requirements which we have at the moment are, in general, very viable, reasonable, and it's clear what we shall do. Of course, there are some narrow points, but the dialogue is very important, and an approach is very important to be maintained. This approach is the future of the market. This is the first message I would like to deliver. Speaking about the session, I can be honest with you. First of all, no new services, no novelties were articulated here. Biological acquiring was mentioned 2 years ago. All these face scanning systems have been working for a long time. Nothing new. The second part, which is very important in terms of biometrics, we have a very healthy competitors environment. Otherwise, there could be one big public player and nobody else. We have competitors, we have players, very big ones, Sberbank, other financial institutions, which will compete, and by that the quality will improve and will be very high. I believe that we have impaired independence of this service, because all leading Russian companies of the segment feel perfect in foreign projects. Our product is very good, comparable to the global analogs. We are independent, and this is a very pleasant thing. I believe that the potential for the market in terms of development is very high. And it was said that we have to make all the services high-frequency ones. Biometric could become our everyday life. Nobody should be afraid of that. Everybody should use it. It's a surprise. People who say that, no, we are afraid to share our data, use their face ID for their mobile phone. It's a surprising company. We trust American company. We do not trust our government. To be honest with you, it looks like that for me. That is why, to summarize, I would like to add a couple of things which are important to my point of view. Number one, we have passed through the storm. We have passed it. It was difficult. And many companies were thinking on investment in biometrics, or they shall leave the market. Shall they use it or wait? Now we can see that all of them who wanted to use that, they continue their activities. That is why we can say that the market has its perspective. It's great that we have a dialogue. And I shall say that I took part in many dialogues from the point of view of working with public bodies. Our dialogue is very transparent, is very open. I can say that it's less formal than on other subjects where I participate. It's great that we have public projects, because the governments and public projects will always be in demand. We didn't mention one of the projects, but I'm confident, I really a fan of this project. It will become a driver. Digital ID. The legislation is already there, and I hope that it will become a driver. Honestly, I'm tired of demonstrating my passport all the time, taking it away from my pocket to all the people who want to check my ID. It's a trend which we see in many countries. And the last thing I would like to say is that today I really liked some points of the session, that biometric will be a driver not only B2C sector, but what the Denis was saying, the SMEs, thanks to simplifying some issues. In this paradigm, when everybody realizes that it's comfortable, safe, and it can be implemented, we can have good prospects. How to improve, how to increase the market. Altogether, within the frameworks of this dialogue, we need to think not only on our interests, but about the market in general. And everything will work, we will succeed. And to those people who are afraid that their data will be stolen, don't be afraid, everything is stolen. Thank you very much for your optimistic speech, which shows that we are open to dialogue, we are ready to listen to everything. To summarize our discussion, which we were trying to do as lively as possible, I would like to tell that, number one, the database of EBU includes millions of numbers. I will not tell you the exact number, will start at 1 million. The downloading of application, there are hundreds of them in all the stores. We are presented in all the stores. And the most important is that for us, the next indicator is not only more than 130 companies which use our service, not only for transactions, but only in terms of vectors. I couldn't but ask you at the end. You can say just yes or no. 3 questions. First, have you provided your biometric data? Do you have a mobile phone or public services biometrics? And number 3, which service would you like to use, even if it's not existing at the moment and you could really use it in your everyday life? Number 1, of course, all my data is in this system. Mobile, of course, I have the mobile application. Not only application, but services which are tested by us. Which service I would like to have? Well, I would support, my colleagues would agree that there are many services there. As a citizen, and I'm speaking as a citizen, not as a representative of the ministry, I would like to see the ecosystem. For example, my relative from Chelyabinsk who want to enter university opens notebook, enter university, then goes to museum using biometrics, to the metro biometrics, to do shopping biometric, and the call a taxi. You shall be aware that the taxi driver also is registered, etc. At the airport, you can identify, and even if you forget the SIM card, you can download the eSIM card. And if you need to give some money to the parents, you can take a loan in a bank. This is the ecosystem in our everyday life. Thank you very much, Pavel. Vladislav, you ask very provocative questions. I would agree with my colleague in terms of testing these services and their application, it would be very strange to believe that we do not use them. Speaking about the service which I would like to have at place, it's very difficult to say because we have many services. There are different approaches for service rendering. In my point of view, biometric is the integral key to all the doors which shall open these doors. This is the part of identity which allows to use any services, both commercial and public, in your everyday life, as Yrii has described, where you can use different services. That is why I would like to wish that people believe, first of all, because it's not only an open dialogue with the market. For the citizens, we are doing everything to explain that it's stable, it's safe, and you can use it. And step by step, this service, simple, convenient, available, comes to life of every person. Thank you, Maksim. Of course, I will answer yes to the first two questions. So I have already provided my biometric data. I have a mobile application. In regards of the dreams and desires, I will dwell on the cases. I have to travel by Sapsan, and I'm tired of taking my passport with me all the time. I travel 2 times a week, and my passport will just be there. It's easy to do that. Just like in metro, you come, use biometrics, and travel to St. Petersburg. Of course, we will assemble this ecosystem where the client will see that it's transparent. This is the target of this ecosystem, to avoid discomfort. By chance, but maybe we will try that on Sapsan train system. Yes, please save my passport. But it's... Yes. And I continue processing my data when the applications are updated. We really enjoy how it's developed, and that's why we regularly test it. In regards of the services which I would like to use and I use, this is biometric payments, which what I miss, probably the cross-banking biometric payments. And I believe this will be a great step that we will have to take together with the colleagues to make the biometric payments convenient. And the person, regardless of a card, of a bank, shall do that. And another comment on the service, I will not list the services I want to use, I will tell which I don't want to see. We had a survey about 15 services of identification and power identification are in place. The ID check-in services, the passes, tickets, 4 ways to pay, keys confirming the authority of a person. If this person is authorized to enter the houses, I do not want to use that. And instead of these, I would like to have biometric services.
It's very pleasant to hear from the Sberbank colleagues about it. Yes. Yes. I like this idea, biometric data, and in which service I want to realize it? In Start Business Online. And another point I want to share, another comment. several words starting with B. Future in Russian starts with B. Bank, business, and safety. So these are 4 pillars. Yes, sure. I support this idea. I already did biometric data provision to different systems, to bank, to other applications. Maybe we will move to Android. And regarding the business, yes, I also support the opinion of my colleagues. It would be convenient for payment in online shops. It is better to replace all these SMS codes and to replace it with biometric. And regarding the transport, we should move along green corridor. We should not show these tickets and passports. We just should move without any barriers. Okay, because I'm very trusting person, I'm very open, so whatever I was suggested by my friends and colleagues, I always trust. Regarding metro, to be honest, I didn't want to use this face pay. I thought why I needed that. It is so easy just to place the card, but when the system was about to be launched, and I remember that I woke up and I heard that this station didn't work, this didn't work, and then I went to check why it didn't work. And then I decided to be more active in that. When I was when people wrote me that the station Face ID didn't work, then I decided to register in Face ID in order to check all the stations. And whenever they told me such and such station didn't work, and I said, no, it works. Yes, I was forced to register in biometric system in order to use it in work. But actually, I appreciated it. We also have a system where clients gives content for biometric data, and we can enter the system and read to whom the client ever gave this consent. And in this document, there is a list of organizations who have a legal right to process the personal data. So I'm waiting for the next year in order to see this document, to whom I ever gave my consent. Dear colleagues, thank you for your speeches, for many interesting things that you've shared. And dear audience, dear participants, thank you for visiting our session. And I'm inviting you again to our stand. We have many interesting things to show you. And together with Wildberries company, we have launched Face ID, also payment with Face ID at Wildberries service. Thank you.